As I said in the introduction, today we're going to be taking a look at this boat, the Pyranha Helectron. We're going to be thinking about its pros, its cons, and perhaps a little bit, who's it for? We're going to be, along the way, seeing how good is it in the flat water, how good is it on a wave, how good is it in a hole. Hopefully this will be of benefit to you guys if you're out there pondering what playboat to pick up next. So without further ado, let's get straight into the action, thinking about the pros. Very early on having this boat, something I noticed, which surprised me pleasantly, was the hull speed. Taking it out on waves in the sea, I was pleasantly surprised by how capable this boat is at trimming the line on an ocean wave, actually getting in the pocket and moving ahead of the pocket. I was really quite surprised because it's a playboat, it's short, it shouldn't be able to carry speed like that and stay ahead. Now obviously I was on fairly slow moving waves in the south coast of the UK, so take that with a pinch of salt, but nonetheless I have been pleasantly surprised by the hull speed of this boat, and that holds even on small river waves whose wave shape you might normally expect not to be conducive to a playboat, the sort of wave that you'd only really be able to normally stay on in a half slice or a creek boat or a longer boat. The Helectron is remarkably capable of staying on, and it doesn't drop off easily, which speaks to that hull design that is built for speed on a wave. Really cool. Combine that with this sharp double rail that it has, and you find that there is an immense amount of edge control and edge release when you want it, that you can drive an edge down and get a really, really powerful rejection and response for some of those aerial moves. Really love that. Another thing about the hull design that I really love is the balance. Lots of modern playboats have this kind of poppiness to them, and yes, the Helectron does fall in that camp, but its lines are a lot smoother than some of the other playboats that I've paddled recently. And because of that, I think it does lend itself a little more to balanced, slicey moves than some of the other modern playboats that I've tried. In terms of what I use it for, flat water, it excels on the flat water. I love getting out and just messing around in this boat on the flat. It's really good fun to play in. Waves, as I've said, pleasantly surprised by its capability moving around the wave face, but also it enables me to do all the moves that I'm capable of and push myself to try new things. In that sense, there is no move that I feel I might be capable of in any boat that I can't attempt in the Helectron, and that's good enough for me. Likewise, in a hole, it is a great fun boat to paddle. For me, my local feature is Woodmill, which is not exactly world class. It's quite steep and not particularly deep, so in that sense you're not doing many exciting modern explosive aerial moves at Woodmill. But the Helectron is very capable of throwing some ends and messing around in that space. And when I have taken it to places like HPP, I've been really delighted at how it functions in a hole as well. I can't really speak more than that about its whole capabilities, but I think it is telling that we don't see the Helectron particularly prevalent in elite level sport. Maybe that will change as the carbon comes out very soon. Perhaps we will see some very high level elite paddlers in the Helectron design, albeit in carbon. But perhaps this is a boat a bit more for the everyman than for the elite level paddler. And that's probably a good thing. All of us need to be able to access playboating. Let's turn to the outfitting, because this is where the pros and the cons kind of come to a head. The outfitting is second to none in this new line of Pyranha boats. It really is so easily adjustable. It's really well thought out. The connectivity is superb. I really love the simple sort of Spartan design of it. I'm one of these people who was initially very skeptical about the whole string thing, and I've actually been proven completely wrong. It's perfectly capable of withstanding anything that you throw at it. The fact that you tension the backband by pulling the strings back towards you through the cleats is a really sensible and simple design tweak that makes a big difference. However, this is where we bleed into the cons. This boat, as I've said, is a year old for me, and already that string on the backband is beginning to fray and wear and break. I don't think I'm a particularly heavy user of the boat. I'm not abusing it in that sense. So that is a little disappointing. But then, on the flip side, replacing some string like this is a very simple thing to do. Anyone can go to a chandlery, pick up the correct stuff, and make that replacement themselves in a fairly short amount of time. And in the grand scheme of things, I think that's probably a good thing. However, another minor point about the outfitting is the overthruster, the plastic overthruster that you get with this boat. Now, I've used various overthrusters in the past. I've recommended various overthrusters on this channel in the past, including the Thames Valley Freestylers one, which I would still rate hugely highly. But I don't need one in this boat because I've got this plastic overthruster. Yet, unfortunately, that does seem to have a bit of a tendency under the pressure of your deck to just flatten out, to bend, which, again, it isn't a deal breaker. It's just a little annoying, really. I constantly find that I'm having to, sort of every session, kind of bend it back into shape as I put it back on the cockpit rim. But, yeah, a minor gripe, really. And that really is what I have to say about cons for this boat. If we were perhaps talking elite level sport, which is not the level of sport that I am at, but perhaps if we were talking to someone at the elite level, they might be able to pick up on some more significant cons with this boat over and against other elite level spec boats that they paddle. But for me, as someone who I think represents the everyday paddler, the weekend warrior, someone who just wants to get out and enjoy their paddling, actually, in terms of cons, I really have very little to say about this boat other than these minor gripes. So perhaps that is where this video lands. The Pyranha Helectron, certainly in plastic, the playboat for the everyday paddler. It's a brilliant boat that will cater to people of all levels, beginner to intermediate to fairly advanced, but perhaps not elite. And that is okay. That makes it a very good choice. Unless you're wanting to buy Jackson, it is the answer to a modern plastic boat, really. So that's probably my review. If you want a boat that is going to serve you well on flat water, on a wave, in a hole, that you can have great fun in, that you can attempt at least pretty much every move in the freestyle playbook, well, the Helectron could well be the boat for you. And even if you are pushing towards the elite level, but you haven't yet, lined up that sponsorship money to get hold of a carbon boat, then hey, this could be the ticket to get there. Hopefully that was helpful to some of you. If you've enjoyed this video, then you know all the usual things to do. Like it, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching on a cellular device, a phone, then please do hype this video. You make use of that function to push this to the YouTube algorithm. I would hugely appreciate all of that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sorry that it's been so long since I last put a video out. Rest assured, there are others coming as and when I can get to them. And I thank you so much for your time. Thanks for watching, guys.